Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday drawing session with me, Frank Cho. There's my trusty Pentel mechanical pencil with 0.7 millimeter HB lead and my kneaded eraser. And here's my favorite paper to draw on, Strathmore Bristol 300 series with vellum surface. I like the vellum surface because it has a little tooth that grips the pencil well. Today, since it was 2 weeks ago, Batman National Day, today I am going to draw Batman. Now, my favorite Batman artists, actually, there are several. Um, the big Batman artist that I fell in love with Batman anyway was Don Newton. Don Newton was a fantastic artist who drew Batman in the late 70s and early 80s. And his stuff was just classical. I mean, it's just everything was so clean and so classical looking. Um, I remember picking up Detective Comics 509, where Batman fights Catman, and it was drawn by Don Newton and inked by Dan Atkins. And I thought that issue just completely, really just impressed me so much as a little kid. I remember I picked up that issue in my local library in Beltsville, Maryland. And I remember I was just rooted to the spot, just like staring at it because the artwork was so fantastic. So anyway, with this Batman, I had this Batman image in mind where he's kind of like coming straight at you, where he's kind of leaping down from his bat plane. And the original position I had him kind of like swinging on a rope. But yeah, I wasn't too fond of that. But here's my initial crack at Batman swinging on a rope. So anyway, going back to the Batman artist, because of Don Newton, I fell in love with Batman, and and I started digging through all the back issues and discovered Neil Adams, and now Neil Adams to me is like the definitive Batman artist. His stuff was just absolutely incredible. And then through Neil, I discovered Garcia Lopez. Now, Garcia Lopez is another absolutely fantastic artist. As I said before, I mean, Neil was fantastic, and uh, and when Neil left DC Comics in the 70s, I thought Garcia Lopez filled that void that Neil left, and I thought Garcia Lopez was the heir to Neil Adams. Anyway, so there I am drawing the Batman's head cow, the cow. Earlier, I kind of like I was kind of fussing around with the shoulder a bit. As I was drawing it, I decided to give it a bit more of energy by cocking the shoulder back more. And here I am drawing the face. If you look at the face, that's like classic. You could kind of see Don Newton's influence on the face. That there's a certain classical looking about it. So like a lot of the old Batman artists, they would draw Batman eyebrows, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, and so I guess I'm one of the new guys who pretty much got rid of the eyebrows. That was kind of stenciled onto the cow. Um, there I'm still fussing around with that shoulder, the trapezius. There's a collarbone and the shoulder. Now the shoulder is muscle is divided into three major group. Um, so you have the front, middle, and back, the deltoids. There's the forearm. If you really look at it, the forearm and the calf muscle, they're very similar the way the muscles are arranged. There's a term for it where the upper body and the lower body are basically similar muscle wise, muscle grouping wise. So, like I said before, I want a Batman coming at you where he's swinging, but as I was drawing, I didn't like that pose. And I also decided to change the face a little bit, where he was in the earlier version where he was kind of looking slightly aside. I decided to have this new version where Batman is kind of like facing forward, straight at you. Now, another fantastic Batman artist that doesn't get enough love is Jim Aparo. I thought Jim Aparo was another absolutely fantastic Batman artist. His stuff in the late 60s, right around the time when Neil Adam was hitting his peak, I thought Jim did a really great job of kind of like emulating Neil Adams, but at the same time brought in his sensibility and style into it. So Jim Aparo was another Batman artist that doesn't get enough credit. So there I am drawing the eyes and the nose and the mouth, and that kind of that determined mouth. And so I decided to change the Batman where he's not holding on to the rope. I decided to have his hand out, coming straight at you, like he's jumping down from the sky, ready to grab you. So when you're doing like a foreshortening, the perspective drawing of the hand, I like to start with the hand first, you know, and then from the hand, figure out how to connect it to the shoulder. Now, where the hand where he's coming straight at you, where he's like kind of reaching out, that is a classic Neil Adams pose. Neil always had this absolutely just incredible ability to draw the hand and just the body parts in that forced perspective and that really crazy angle. And since he was a master at anatomy, that he just made it work no matter what. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Neil Adams. I think that guy was just absolute the best. I think he was like after Jack Kirby, I thought he was the most influential artist of all time in the comic book world. So there I am drawing the hand. And something like didn't look quite right, so here I am posing to make sure that if something doesn't look right, just erase it and start over, or dig for a reference. I mean, in this case, I was using my own hand as reference. You guys don't see it, but off camera, I'm kind of like I'm staring at my hand. So another good thing to have around the studio is a mirror. A mirror is a must, especially when you're drawing faces. So I have a mirror in my studio that I use when I'm drawing faces. Every now and then I will stare at my face to get that expression just right. There I am, I'm kind of like figuring out how the thumb looks. Now, if you mess up, this is just a pencil stage. If you mess up, just go ahead and erase it. Don't be afraid to erase things and correct things. As that old saying goes, if it looks right, it's right. If it looks wrong, it's wrong. And if it looks wrong, then go ahead and erase it and start over. You don't have to be perfect. This is just a sketching, the drawing stage. This is one of my favorite stages when I'm penciling. Where I'm just like drawing and penciling and just making mistakes and trying to figuring things out. Now again, don't be afraid to erase. If you screw up, erase it. Art is about the final product. So as long as the final product looks great, don't worry about the process. There I am just drawing the muscle grouping and the bicep and the forearm. So as I said earlier, when Neil Adams left DC in the 70s to pursue commercial art, he left a big giant void in comics, especially in the Batman titles. And I thought Garcia Lopez, when he came on board, Garcia Lopez was always in the background. I mean, I thought Neil kind of like got all the spotlight. But Garcia Lopez was just as capable, just as a brilliant artist Neil was. Unlike Neil tend to have this great dynamic perspective, pose, and energy to it. Garcia's stuff had the same energy, but his stuff was a little bit more classical. His figure drawing is a lot more classical trained. So like his stuff is just beautiful to look at. And so there's another guy, Garcia Lopez is another highly underrated artist. And in my opinion, he was the heir apparent to Neil Adams. So here I am drawing the cape. So when I draw the cape, I really think of it as a almost like a part of the anatomy, almost like an organic thing, like hair. So when you're drawing the cape, I like to think of it as an extension of the body part, and then figure out how to best use the cape to fill in the space that would help with the composition. So instead of drawing the shadow like I originally planned to, I decided to give it a little bit more of a dynamic flair by having the light source from the lower left-hand corner. So the light is shining from upward. So the shadow will be cast on the top of the figure. So that dramatic light source, that dramatic lighting, was was basically inspired by Frank Miller. Frank Miller in the 80s, absolutely brilliant storyteller. I mean, his figure work was a little bit wonky, but his storytelling was just absolutely incredible. To this day, I think he is like the best, one of the best and most unique storytellers that I've ever come across. And he did this dramatic lighting where the light is often cast upward, and with everything had this brilliant shadows. He basically was to me when I was reading a lot of his stuff, his Daredevil and Batman stuff, was kind of doing a film noir on paper. And another guy who did a brilliant job of having this undercast lighting was Mike Zack. Mike Zack was another highly underrated artist. that worked mostly in the at Marvel in the 80s. So if you look at a lot of his stuff from the 80s, his Captain America run was fantastic. He always do this great dramatic lighting where the light is coming from the below and casting the shadow. So if you look at a lot of his Captain America art from the 80s, you have that lighting. And also his Punisher, his run on the Punisher, he also did a lot of that under the under cast lighting. And eventually in the 90s, he jumped ship to DC and did absolutely incredible covers for DC. He did a lot of Batman covers, Deathstroke covers, and a bunch of other stuff. So like those two guys, Frank Miller and Mike Zeck, was a master of this under this dramatic lighting, which I'm trying, that's what I decided to do with this Batman. No, I'm just fussing around with the face and the lighting. Since the cape is flowing in the background, I just wanted to just bathe it in light, and I'm just kind of softening it up, just to kind of like to separate it from the from the head. Once you establish the body, the anatomy, it's easy to figure out where to put the shadows in. There's the forearm muscle. So since the light is coming from below, you want to put the shadows in the upper part. Playing around with the shadow is actually really fun. It can make all your drawings so dramatic if you know what you're doing. I mean, there's an old saying goes, I think it was Jeff Jones who said it, or was it Wally Wood? Might have been Wally Wood. If you're not sure, just black it out. Because it basically it just creates just shadows just always creates drama. Just great visual drama. Yeah, that stupid eye was just bothering me. I don't know what it is. So usually because of because I'm shooting this on video, I've taped the paper to the desk, so I can't move the paper. Usually when I'm drawing, I'm rotating the paper all around, until I can figure out the drawing and all that. So having the paper just taped down to the drawing desk is a bit of a handicap. That eye is just like really bothering me. You'll see me just constantly fuss around with that eye. But if I just drawing on a just normally I would be rotating the paper to make sure that that eye isn't crooked and stuff like that. And I feel that left eye is kind of crooked. you'll see me coming back and try to fix it more. Just casting that dramatic lighting on the chest. Here's that bat symbol. I like the modern design of the bat symbol. I never was a big fan of that the yellow oval with the black bat symbol. I thought that yellow was just kind of, it kind of defeated the purpose of the overall design of the Batman costume, because I thought Batman is a creature of the night, so everything should be black, gray, and blue. Having that big yellow oval thing and a big yellow belt, I thought it just looked kind of like it looked gaudy, kind of crass, kind of just, it just clashed. Everything just completely threw the overall design of the costume. So I decided to make that front part of the cape a little bit darker, because the shadow from the arm is being cast. Just fussing around with the cape. I thought those little spiky part in the gloves, I thought it was always really cool. It's actually funny, when I was drawing this Batman, I was actually thinking a lot about Neil Adams. I'm starting to realize how much of an impact Neil Adams have on me, on my drawing. I've always thought I was more of a John Buscema guy, but the more I draw, and some of the some of the body proportion and the features, I actually started to think I'm more leaning toward Neil having a bigger influence on me than John did, even though I studied how to draw the Marvel way, the art, the how-to book by John Buscema, religiously as a kid. But as I draw more and more, I feel that a lot of my drawings start to lean more toward Neil than John. So I decided to make the jawline, the initial jawline was a little bit more square. So since he's coming right at you and has his head kind of tilted forward, you need to make the jawline a little bit sharper at an angle. But if it's like facing straight at you, his jawline will be more square, but he's kind of leaning, his head is leaning forward a little bit with his chin down, his chest. The overall jawline should be a little bit sharper. There I am. I decided to make, since the light source is coming from behind the body, the overall body is casting a shadow on the cape. Yeah, I'm having an absolute blast just drawing this. So I decided to add a little thing. Right between the eyes is the center point where all the lines are radiating. I decided to draw the speed lines where he's kind of like to give it the illusion that he's like leaping off a building or leaping off the bat plane and coming straight at you. So having the speed line kind of like give the illusion of the buildings, of the skylines. Now, speed lines are great. So when you have like a stationary figure drawing, just adding speed line just gives it that give it that energy, the extra energy. So if you think your drawing is a little bit static and a little bit lifeless, just add speed lines. Speed line is always great. Speed lines is fun. You can see I'm not really drawing buildings. I'm just giving, I'm drawing using the speed line to illustrate, give the illusion, hint of the buildings. So there it is, all the speed line and giving the hint of the overall skyline that he's jumping down from the building. And I'm just right now at this point just cleaning up, just darkening some of the pencil lines. I actually had a lot of fun drawing this. If I had more time, I would be just noodling the hell out of it at this point. But, you know, since this is only like a half an hour drawing session, you know, I just want to keep it tight and precise, and don't stray too much from the original drawing agenda, which is to draw Batman coming straight at you. Just darkening all the outlines. So there it is. Batman. Hope you enjoyed it.